Woman gets distracted by a mysterious object while on her daily evening walk, ends up solving a big mystery.
But before we start, please take a moment to give this video a like, subscribe to Happy World, and hit the bell so you'll never miss these great stories.
Every day is a new day. You never know what is lurking in the corner. Even this woman never suspected that discovering a stray dog would lead her to something profound. The dog was indeed a lucky pup, because this lady did not stop until she helped find the dog's family. However, the dog took her to a rural highway, which left her very puzzled. Kathy Wilkes-Meyers' story is one that is fit for a movie. This is one story that is too unbelievable to be true. We all know just how refreshing an evening walk or a morning walk can be. It truly cleanses the boy, and the activity really does shape your body for the better. So even Kathy Wilkes-Meyers was used to taking a walk in the evening. She loved to stay fit and maintain a healthy body. But one particular day, her evening walk was disturbed by something she never thought she would encounter. So as Kathy was walking around her usual route, she spotted a dark shape across her. Since her walks were usually spent undisturbed and peaceful, this was truly something new. She was immediately curious to see what this mysterious object was and what it was doing here. It was right there on the side of the road and appeared to be some sort of animal. Since she never saw anything like this during her daily exercise, it really sparked up an interest to see what it was for Kathy. So what was this mysterious object, and why had it found its way here? Was this story going to have a happy ending? Kathy went a little closer towards the object so as to investigate what was actually there that night. Was she going to regret it? As Kathy peeked from afar, she could see the dark shape moving about. She could see that the object across from where she was standing was not just any animal. It was, in fact, a dog, and it was drinking water from a ditch. Since Kathy had never seen a dog in this side of her neighborhood, she was very confused as to how it got here. She knew she had to check the dog out and take a closer look. So Kathy decided to investigate firsthand and see why a dog would be around this side of the neighborhood in the first place. When she finally got to the other side of the road, she had a clearer vision of how the dog looked like. It was a black dog that was quite skinny. She could also immediately tell that it wasn't actually a stray. Judging from the appearance, this dog was a Rottweiler. According to Kathy, when she approached the dog, she could tell when the dog first saw her, it was not comfortable at all. In fact, it first looked quite scared and afraid of the random woman standing next to it. However, after just a while, Kathy did not scare the dog, and so the Rottie started to wag its tail. Then it was this time that Kathy discovered something weird. We all know that any pet owner or pet lover's fundamental duty is to train them and keep them well behaved. This is one of the few things that makes a difference between a stray dog and a dog that has owners. Something about the dog spoke to Kathy, and so she had a gut feeling about it. I could just tell right away she was somebody's baby, revealed Kathy. From afar, Kathy was not able to get a clear look at the dog, so she had to get a closer look. After some investigating was done, she found out that the dog is a female. Also, judging from how she looked and behaved, there was a quality that signaled that this was not a stray dog. The dog seemed pleased to be discovered by the woman. However, Kathy felt very sad to see her in such a bad condition. There was another thing that really bugged Kathy upon finding out about the dog. It was the fact that the area in which she found the dog was a popular dumping ground for abandoned pets in Tennessee. It was where people left their pets that they either cannot take care of or do not want to take care of. It led Kathy to believe that this Rottie was one of these abandoned dogs. After learning about the fact that this dog might have had owners and that it had apparently been abandoned, Kathy knew that it was sort of her duty now to keep the dog in a safe place. So what did she decide to do with the pet? Well, she did the kind thing and took the dog to her home. She did not mind taking care of the dog for a while. However, something else happened along the line. After taking the poor dog back to her place, Kathy was focused on doing a very important thing for the pup. She thought the most crucial thing to do was to take the dog to a local shelter. What for, you may ask? Well, since the pup was in such a bad condition, it was necessary for her to go and get her checked for diseases. She did not want to risk the life of the abandoned dog. When Kathy rescued the dog, it was covered up with many fleas and ticks. She had gathered all these because she had been wandering in the streets with no proper care. Also, the dog was quite malnourished and tired. As soon as the Rottweiler got better, Kathy came to take her back home. After this incident, things started to unravel and something happened. After Kathy took the lost pup to the vet, it was as if the dog became brand new again. She was freed from any medical complications. The pup was now all clean, healthy, and well-rested. She had not been living like this for quite a while now, so it must have felt great for the puppy. Not only that, she had her tummy full, and there was nothing else that the pup could ever wish for. Even though Kathy basically gave the pup all that she could have ever needed, there was still something that was bugging the poor pup. She was always deeply anxious to get outside the house and out in the streets for some unknown reason. Kathy soon realized that the dog did not just like the outside, but actually wanted to return to the woods. But why would she? So after acting weird and anxious for some time, Kathy finally understood that the dog actually wanted to go back to the woods where she was first discovered. So very quickly, Kathy took the Rottie with her and made their way to finding the first clue of a long mystery. She found so many strange stuff. There were broken glasses, a tail light, and then Kathy suddenly realized something. All these clues were so strange and quite disturbing, making Kathy very puzzled. She wondered why the pup would lead her to this site. And then, as she was collecting her thoughts, Kathy made a sudden realization that made sense of this whole thing. She had read in the news that 2 weeks before the day she discovered the pup, there had been a serious car crash somewhere there. After being led to the car crash site, Kathy was trying to make sense of all of the things that had taken place in the few days since discovering the dog. She had a feeling that it all was somehow connected, and that the abandoned dog was also a part of this puzzle. Had the dog been abandoned by other people, or did she belong to the family that met with the accident? After her instincts told her that all of this was somehow interlinked, Kathy decided to do the most sensible thing she could think of. She decided to make a call to the police, and it turned out that the woman was right. The police confirmed that there was indeed a dog in the family that met with the car crash. Now it was again her mission to try and locate the family for the pup. So what exactly happened to the family that met with the accident? Well, after contacting the police, Kathy was informed about the details of what had happened. It turned out that Michelle Kelly and her husband Joe were driving the car, and the whole family was traveling together. Inside the car, there were 3 children and their family dog named Ella. As the family was riding towards their destination, the unfortunate incident then took place. It was Michelle who was driving the car, and she, unfortunately, hit the brakes at the wrong time. The car swerved out of control and then slammed hard into the mountain. This was not just all. There was something else that took place when the family met with the terrible accident. So when Kathy put the puzzle pieces together, she was able to uncover a lot of the mystery that surrounded the dog she found. And so before talking to the police, Kathy managed to get some information about the car crash that happened a few days ago. Since the details of the crash were quite gruesome, she assumed that the family did not survive the accident. However, when upon asking around and talking to the locals, she realized something as well. She asked around, but everybody believed the dog to have passed away too. They did not think that the dog would survive the car crash either. But the dog actually made it, and there Ella was, alive and happy. So Kathy decided to make a call to the highway patrol. Kathy asked around in the hopes of getting more information, and she did. The accident was not a minor one that the family could just brush off and forget about. It was quite serious and also quite the revelation. So Kathy was told by the locals that after the accident, the emergency crews came to try and rescue the family after the crash happened. After reaching the site of the accident, the rescuers took the whole family to the nearest hospital available. However, because Ella had been thrown out of the car while the accident took place, it was a different case for the poor pup. She was never discovered by the rescue team. So that would mean that Ella had been spending 13 long days alone in the streets. Just imagine one random day meeting with an accident only to be separated from the ones you call family. Ella, the poor pup, ended up spending 13 days and nights all alone and absolutely frightened in the streets. All she could do was to wait and look around for something or someone that could lead her back to her family. But sadly, nobody was claiming her. And so when Kathy was questioning the rescue team about what took place then, they informed her that the family the dog was nowhere to be found. They were searching for her for a little while, but decided that she was not there anymore. So when the dog and Kathy finally reached the area where the crash took place, Ella pulled her to the woods. What Kathy saw in the woods where Ella took her was something straight out of a horror movie. When they reached the woods, the dog took Kathy to a place where some random things had been piled into the woods. They were all very random. There was a comb, toothbrush, razor, and a candle, all probably smelling like her family. She had stored all these here. Since the poor pup did not know where to go or do something about it, the only choice she had was to just wait. As we all know, dogs cannot speak or communicate with us verbally, so the only thing for Ella to do was to wait and see if anyone would come to her rescue and help her find a home. As Kathy explained, this place was the last spot she saw her family and she was going to stay there. So surprisingly, these random objects that Ella had stored as treasures turned out to be quite the help for her. As she kept them close, Ella survived about 2 weeks of starvation and loneliness solely because these objects helped her think of home and that gave her the hope of returning back soon. She was wishing that somehow she could make it home to her family somehow. For the dog who must have been pampered by her owners all her life, it must have been quite the challenge for Ella to be optimistic and to survive in the harsh streets. But she did not want a lost hope and just waited until she met someone who could help her. Kathy then revealed something pitiful about the dog. She was hoping her family could come back, but they couldn't. They couldn't come back. When Ella took her to the woods where all the strange items were piled up, Kathy knew she had to do something about it. She still did not know who the family to which Ella belonged to was, so she decided that collecting the items Ella gathered should be a good move. And so the woman finally made up her mind and concluded that it was high time she found the clues about the family and to speak to them. Kathy was not sure if she would be able to locate the family to which poor Ella belonged to, but she was determined to try her best. The only thing she hoped for now was that she would be able to find at least a small clue for Ella to once again find her way back to her family. She did not want the dog to spend time wondering where her owners were anymore. From the pile of stuff that Ella had kept in the woods, surely there must have been something, a clue that could lead Kathy to the family, right? Well, as Kathy rummaged through the items, she found that among the belongings, a notepad was present with the name of an insurance agent. She then took to the internet to locate him. He was the one who led her to the Kelly family. After searching frantically to find a clue that could link her to the family that met with the accident, Kathy finally found something useful. She was able to find out that the family that owned Ella was the Kelly family. Since they had been through such a horrific accident, Kathy did not know whether the family survived it or not. Her only prayer was that the family lived on. The dog was smart enough to keep the things that tied her to her family. This might have been by chance or on purpose. But thanks to Ella and the fact that she gathered the family's objects, it would soon serve to be of great help for Kathy. Using the object that Ella had kept there, the woman was able to find out a way to contact the Kelly family. And the question and fear that had been clouding her mind were finally rest assured. It was such a blessing for Kathy to learn about the best news she could have ever gotten. It was the fact that all the family had survived the crash. And not only this, they had been longing to see their adorable dog for such a long time now. The whole family was ecstatic to see that Ella was back in their lives. So it was a huge celebration on both sides as they had clearly wanted to meet again for so long. When the family heard about the news that Ella was actually alive after coming into terms for 2 weeks, the thought of her being dead, they overjoyed. They were so glad to see that their family pet was right there, healthy and happy, ready to embrace them all once again. When the family realized that their lovely dog had actually been living on the streets for more than 10 days, they could not believe it. They were so proud of Ella for being so brave and living through such a difficult time. It definitely made the family feel overjoyed. However, as we all know, there is always something sad that comes with all of the good news. So when the family reunited, tears were shed because Joe Kelly did not think that his family would ever get the chance to reunite with Ella ever again. He explained in an interview that just after the crash took place, the last thing I'd seen was her looking straight into my eyes before she went up into the woods. He was no sure that she would have ever lived through the heavy impact. It was good news to hear about Ella surviving, but the medical expenses that the family had to pay after the crash had led to the family having to move to a place where dogs could not be kept. It was going to take a little bit of time before Ella could officially reunite with her rightful family. Kathy was the savior once again and was happy to keep Ella until the Kellys were ready to take her back in.